Our collusion and corruption segment tonight, former top Obama aide Ben Rhodes, he's now being investigated for unmasking the names of American citizens in sensitive foreign intelligence operations. You may remember Rhodes from when he bragged about lying to journalists about the Iran deal he helped craft. This is a major development in the investigation, and it shows that the House Intelligence Committee is taking the unmasking of American citizens' names seriously, as they should. With me now, retired Navy commander and former Pentagon spokesperson, J.D. Gordon. J.D., good to see you.
Hey, Liz, great to see you.
All right, J.D., this name, Ben Rhodes, he was a top advisor to President Obama. He helped craft the Iran deal here. What does this mean that he is now a quote-unquote person of interest in this House Intel Committee investigation?
Well, Liz, I think the Democrats were involved in political espionage against the Trump campaign, against the transition team. We saw these unmasking requests from people like Susan Rice, Samantha Power, now Ben Rhodes. So I think that this is a very important step in the House investigation. I think you'll see Ben Rhodes before House investigators, Senate investigators, and possibly the Judiciary Committee as well, and who knows, perhaps even the special counsel.
Right, and perhaps he should. I don't think he'd be able to claim executive privilege here, even though he was a top advisor to President Obama. A lot of these requests came, and a lot of his activities, perhaps even his leaks to the press, came after the Obama administration, so he should have 6 to 8 months where he could not claim executive privilege here. But JD, this idea of unmasking, we talk about unmasking, revealing the names of American citizens. Explain that in layman's terms to our viewers who might not understand the significance of what it means to either redact or unmask a citizen's name.
Basically, Liz, there are these intelligence reports that U.S. authorities get from listening to people overseas, and sometimes those contacts overseas or foreign contacts may be mentioning Americans. So that would normally be classified information. But an intelligence authority or someone, like in NSC, for instance, like a Ben Rhodes or Susan Rice, could say, I want to unmask that name, which means make that name available to anyone in the intelligence community looking at it. So that really opens the universe for whoever can look at it. The problem is the intelligence community, those folks there have been leaking like sieves for political gain, I think, just to embarrass the Trump campaign and Trump associates. So basically, that information has been used as an abuse of power to publicly embarrass Trump associates, and also it very well may be illegal in an abuse of power in the way they did it.
Right, and compare that to me, because the actual unmasking or requesting the unmasking of a name that's been incidentally collected in surveillance, that there is an aspect of that could be legal. There is a way to legally unmask that name. Tell me about that versus perhaps what some of these Obama officials did.
Well, if you have a need to know for the safety of the country, certainly you're going to want to see who that name is. But once you just start whole cloth unmasking people, which it seems the Obama administration senior officials were doing, this was at the top level, the National Security Advisor, Deputy National Security Advisor, UN Ambassador to the UN, perhaps the CIA Director as well. Once you start doing that whole cloth, then there are a lot of people in the intelligence community that can see it. And unfortunately, people in the intelligence community were running to the press, and those are essentially felonies, Liz, so that's not good.
Right, so if I'm understanding correctly, and I want to make sure that I am, because there's so many accusations and I think so much misunderstanding around this issue, is unmasking these names, the individuals who requested the unmasking, it might have been legal for them to request that unmasking, or even legal for them to view that name or disseminate it within the intelligence community, but you're saying you believe they knew what they were doing would put the names of these American citizens at risk for leaks, because when so many eyeballs see that, if there's anybody that does see it, that doesn't like the president or has a wish to harm him or undermine his administration, they might leak that to the press.
Yeah, they very well may, and they did. I think that Evelyn Farkas, who was a Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense during the Obama administration, she really laid it all out there on MSNBC in March. You remember Evelyn Farkas said to MSNBC, she was bragging about it, that she was telling all her colleagues during the Obama administration, hey, get all the information you can, capture it now. So they were actually conducting espionage on the Trump administration. Last time I checked, political espionage is not legal.
No, it's a felony. It's a felony to misuse these names or to leak these names to the press. This is not just a leak like we see from the White House, where it's almost gossip, inter-White House circle gossip here. Oh, someone's mad at someone. President Trump this is his attitude right now. Those leaks might undermine the narrative of the Trump administration, but they're not necessarily illegal. These are a felony. Like you said, it's illegal for the government to collect the names of American citizens. That's why they're redacted in the beginning. When they're unmasked, you're supposed to keep those quiet, because it's supposed to be only within the vital national security interest of our nation to even see that name. JD, how do you prove this, though? I know that there were hundreds of unmasking requests made during the 2016 election cycle, from primary to general election. Some of the justifications on these requests are reportedly a bit vague. How do you prove that there was political espionage, to use your term, behind it?
Well, that's up to House and Senate investigators to prove. Basically, these folks in the Obama administration could join all these Trump associates who have had these House and Senate hearings. Because I'll tell you, Liz, some people are going to end up with six-figure legal bills they have to pay on their own. Most of them are probably going to be in the five figures. But that's still, if you're paying your own legal bills and you're talking about five figures, well, that's a lot of money. So the Obama administration folks like Ben Rhodes and Susan Rice, Samantha Power, John Brennan, guess what? They could have their turn in the barrel, too, to start paying these exorbitant legal fees, or else go bankrupt or perhaps even go to prison if it's proved that they did what they had done was illegal.
Right, and it certainly seems that they owe it to the American people to assure us that the government is not abusing their spying power, because it is. They do have the power to do that. They just need to have the ethics not to extend it beyond that point. And I think that's what Congress right now is holding hostage a little bit, that idea that that capacity, I should say, to actually collect that surveillance on foreign targets. There are some congressmen that are saying, no, if you don't, abide by the law here, we're not even going to give you the authority, the power to do that, which, again, that too would be detrimental to our national security.